What's going on, guys? This is Matt Marino for Real Estate Recovery Group, and I'm coming to you live. I got my co-host today, Fuquan Bilal. Did I pronounce the last name correct?
Yes, you did.
All right. I'm actually excited to have this fella on. Not that I'm promoting the books, but he's got a message. And it's two different books. And maybe, during the interview, we'll get an overview of what the message was in both books. But we've been following each other for a while. I actually believe I got involved in a second mortgage that your company actually had, correct?
Correct, on a short sale.
On a short sale. Now, short sale was going on for quite some time. And the real estate agent had reached out to me and inquired, saying, hey, do you know this company? And I said, yeah, of course I know the company. And I knew that it was you and Maria that, I had the loan and was actually servicing it. So we wrapped it up rather quick. The real estate agent and or the buyer wasn't 100% happy. But you know what? Sometimes things don't work out the way that they think they're going to work out financially. So this particular situation, in the end, everybody was happy. You guys got paid off. I don't really know if you guys made any money on it or not. But the person who purchased the property was happy. So in the end, it's really about the seller who's in trouble and the buyer who wants to purchase the property. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I remember this deal because we saw each other at an event. And you was like, hey, you own this loan? And I see your company. And I was like, yeah. So we held that deal actually hostage. And that's one of the powers that people don't know the second mortgage.
100% you did. You know what? That's a good point. Because most people think, first lien position, you're good, whatever. That's not necessarily true. Why don't you actually tell people about the situation with that file so they understand that, I'm not full of shit.
Yeah. I mean, for that, not to really get into it too much because it's a borrower. And again, our goal is, not to foreclose. If we foreclose, we fail. But we have investors to answer to, and we have decisions to make on these loans. So like you had mentioned, and people think it's just the first mortgage that has all the power. They both have the same power, just one is recorded in first position, the other is in second. They both have the same rights. So we actually hold deals hostage, basically until we get what we want. For example, this is a smaller UPB. I think we did the short sale for less than $10,000. When we see a deal where a realtor, and I love all my realtors, when a realtor is making $12,000 to $15,000 on a commission, and they're trying to give us $3,000 on a short sale, we're like, that doesn't make sense. We're the lender. We're grateful that you brought the opportunity to the table to get liquidity, but we have to kind of work something out. So there's a lot of different creative ways legally that we can actually structure the deal where it's a win-win situation for all parties, whether it's giving homeowners money for relocation, whether it's making sure that the realtor gets paid or whatever the case is. But in this particular deal, the realtor approached us with that approach. Hey, this is all you're going to get. You're only going to get $1,000. And by the way, if you don't take it, the first is going to wipe you out and foreclose. And we're like, oh, okay. Well, do me a favor. Send us the approval from the first mortgage. Send us the HUD. There's a checklist of all the things we send us. And then what you guys have to do, Matt, is you have to go through the whole process of getting the first to approve, getting everything ready. And then you present the deal to the second guy and say, hey, I got the approval. This is all they're willing to pay. And then I'm like this. Well, I'm not willing to take that. So now it's a problem for everyone because the second mortgage company is holding the deal up. And that's what I mean is, we held the deal hostage and it went a long time and there was a lot of frustration on both ends. And we're like, hey, listen, this deal basically, it was zeroed out on the tape when we purchased it because the house is in foreclosure and, there was really no cost to this. This is one of those loans where it was the weighted average of the pool that we made a decision to take the tape down and we probably had $100 that we put this on a balance sheet for. And basically when it's a situation like that, it can go both ways where we'll take the $100 loss and the loss of time communicating, or we'll make a profit. And in this case, we made a profit. We was able to do the short sale where the purchaser actually made money and the realtor made a commission. And, that's the short of it.
So, and that's good. So I know this was going on for quite some time. And, when I stepped in and I put clarity into the picture for both sides and dealing with your company, it's funny because there's so many different people are out there. The elements obviously get mixed up. And I think people have this false sense of entitlement. And they think, hey, I'm the real estate agent. No, I'm going to get this done. No, I got to get my full commission. That's not necessarily true. I try to explain that on the real estate side of it to real estate agents, but unfortunately, they don't want to hear it, and they're not properly trained. And that's why I think you and I get along, and I actually get along with a lot of investors buy these notes that bring me in because of the fact that I do understand and that I run a loss mitigation company. And sometimes it's better to have a middleman in place with a voice of reason. The agent obviously was not happy with the way things turned out, but ultimately said thank you because this was going nowhere. And I do know that on your platform notes, and people don't know this, but platform notes, people that are listening, is the notes that the banks, the servicers, the investors use that they actually go off of. And in your platform notes, in your company, it basically said that, that the agent was, unruly, not willing to bend, and offered such a ridiculously low number, you were not even going to entertain moving forward with the short sale. So in that situation, kind of thank God that my company got involved and was able to, middle it. You and everybody won in the end. And that's really, and again, it's the seller who's in trouble and it's the buyer who wants to buy it. So I was happy to help out with that.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, you just stepped in and was like, hey, man, what do we need to do to make this deal happen? Let's just cut circle with straight line. Tell me what you need. And, I'll do my best to make it happen. And I gave you the number and you came back and said, listen, I got it for you. When you want to close this. So it was really fast. Once you stepped in, it was like 2 weeks later, we were getting a check. And I was like, okay, because they already had to approve from the first. Yep. They were just waiting for me to come from here to go, okay. So I really appreciate you stepping in and handling that. And it was good to see that, there was somebody local too, because, we have assets in New Jersey as well. We buy nationwide. We have assets in New Jersey. So this was really good, at the time it happened. I wish I would have, held on to that because the market is on fire right now.
Come on. But I got you. Look, if somebody wants to, I know. Look, if somebody wants to reach out to you, the best way is actually to email you. And if you want to reach out to Fuquan, you can reach him at his email address, which is FBILAL at NNG Capital Fund.com.
Yeah, I think I spelled that wrong. It's NNG Capital Fund. That's my bad. That's a typo. Sent you the wrong email.
The wrong email?
Yeah, it was CAPITAL. Capital Fund.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, no, it's not because it's not right. So
they would have figured it out when they got the bounce back.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Whatever. I'll edit that and I'll send it back out in a couple of minutes. But regardless, it's really, I think what we do is, I think it's an art, and I do believe that people across the United States or even outside the country, people that come in and bring money as an investor, they're looking for an opportunity to make money. And I think that something along the way, and you may or may not agree with this, gets lost in the translation as far as somebody being an investor and or somebody being a buyer or somebody being a real estate agent or somebody being an attorney or a title company, insurance company, mortgage company, hard money people. And it's all customer service. And I think that when people have a chip on their shoulder and things don't work out, they just strike like a cobra because they're like, well, this isn't how it works. This isn't what I read a book and the book said if I do this is going to work. You're laughing because it's true.
Yeah.
So much stuff that gets recycled and watered down into the community. And unfortunately, a lot of it's garbage. There are people that say, I do this, or people call me a guru. I'm not a guru. I'm a guy who had a bologna sandwich for lunch. I'm a regular guy that understands a concept, took it from 2005 to 2020 and kind of built like a small empire because I understand the rules, regulations, and guidelines. People don't take time to do that. So let's dive into what's going on with you. You wrote 2 different books, 2 different concepts. Let's talk about this book right here, Passion for Real Estate Investments.
Yeah, man, that's the latest and greatest. That book is less than a year old. I released it. And for me, the purpose of that was just to share different types of real estate investments that I've been involved in over my 20-year journey with the masses, and really how to do it, whether it's tax-free or tax-deferred, other instruments, vehicles that you can use, structuring deals, whether it's wraps, all different types of deals I talk about in that, from notes to real property. And I just wanted to share that knowledge with people. I share a lot of content and do a lot of stuff to kind of give the new person or the person who has been in the business for a couple of years information on how to pivot and navigate certain markets. So I am passionate about real estate. It gives me my feeling of importance to go into blighted areas that have blighted houses and revitalize the area. I'm from Newark, New Jersey, so I come from hardship, and to see the difference that the town has made now, it just brings joy to me. So that's what passion in real estate is about. The other one, Turning Distress into Success, I actually wrote that book years ago. That book is probably 5 years old now, but it's still relevant today. It talks about different types of notes. It's about the note business. So it talks about different types of notes, whether it's real estate notes, boat notes, auto loans, things of that nature. What a lot of people don't know, that's another investment vehicle that you can get into. So that's Turning Distress into Success. Both of those books are on Amazon. You can get them, and it's a lot of valuable information in there. And it was a joy writing both of them. I mean, writing a book, and people who've written books, it's just a tough process, because you really want to impress people with the information that you're delivering, and you want to add value also. That's what I mean. You want to impress upon people the value that you can bring to the table, and it takes a lot to really make sure you deliver the right message. So it's a really hard process, but I was grateful. I was so excited about the note business and Turning Distress into Success. I was like, I got to share with people this new investment strategy I learned.
Who turned you on to the note business?
Actually, Dave Van Horn from PPR. Yeah, he's.
I hear his name a lot.
Yeah, he's my mentor. I had the opportunity to meet with him, and he spent 2 hours of his time in our first meeting. We went to lunch, and I was hooked since then. And that was 2011, and here I am today, still investing in notes, and 20 years later, still investing in real estate.
So let's dive a little bit deeper. Okay, how did you actually get started in real estate per se?
Yeah, so for me, actually, I used to be in sales all my life, and I had a job working for a computer company, director of sales there. And my cousin actually started doing real estate, and I started to shadow him. And he made half my salary in less than 6 months, and I started writing on the wall. I put my 2-week notice in, and that was in '99. Never looked back. Did a lot of flips to the market crash. I wasn't a landlord. I didn't do rental properties. I did fix and flips. I really didn't understand the landlord business. When the market crashed, I was forced to be a landlord. I really didn't like that. I was actually driving around collecting rents with my kids in the back seat of the car. Like, this is crazy. This is dangerous. The properties where I was investing in. And I started doing short sales. And when I found out that you can actually get a property cheaper and faster than it would take to do a short sale back in 2008, well, you get properties cheaper on short sales, but back then when the market was lower, it's like I'm spending 6-7 months on the phone trying to negotiate when there's an abundance of inventory less than what they're willing to take for the short sales. So, short sales really, for me, really didn't start picking up until 2010. Because when the market dropped, I mean, literally properties were on the market for like 30,000. Properties that was just listed, 10 months ago for 300,000. I couldn't understand it. So, I just started learning how to do short sales, and eventually morphed into, the note business. And that was by accident, on the phone with the negotiator, and they said, "Hey, why don't you just buy the note?" And I'm like, "What is that?" So I started to research it, and as I started to dive deeper more on the internet, I ran across, PPR and those guys, and took a meeting with Dave, and pretty much, the rest is history. But, that's how I got started in the business. Always been passionate for it. I'm a real estate junkie. So, this real estate recovery group is really good for me to be here and talk about it. And, it feels like this is therapy in the making.
It's funny because you were getting into short sales in 2010, and there was a ton of people that were getting out of short sales in 2010, 2011 because of the fact that the banks were catching on to the nonsense that was going on when people were actually doing short sales. So, it's funny. I showed you the cover of my book, which I haven't really shown a lot of people. Hopefully it's going to be released in late October, early November. It's about the journey, but it's all about the stuff that, untold stories where people really don't understand or can't fathom because, like, oh my God, the bank, I can't screw over a bank. I signed paperwork. I own a mortgage, but it really comes down to the hardship. It comes down to the packet. It comes down to the information and your financials. So I do the opposite. I worked for a mortgage company, but I didn't do mortgages. I did the marketing side for sale by owners. And we had a very successful business model. But when the market started to change in late 2004 and going to 2005, kind of like you, I had an aha moment and I know what was going on. So 2007, we were cranking out classes with an education platform, and it was really great. But then after that, the fulfillment was there, and I wanted to go in a different direction, and I wanted to dive deep, much like you did behind the scenes of the short sales. You wanted to, you have and fine tune your craft in the notes. I wanted to fine tune my craft with the mortgages and doing the short sales. So I really understand the rules, regulations, and guidelines. And again, people call me a guru. I'm not a guru. I'm the guy who ate the bologna sandwich before. And yes, it is around 12 o'clock, so I had it for breakfast. All right, stop ratting me out. At the end of the day, like I say, it's not about us. It's about how can we serve others to help them and put people before profit, and then you can make money at it. So I love the concept of what you do. I kind of looked at, both the books a little bit. I just got them off Amazon. They still got that, that warehouse smell or whatever. But it came really quick, and I put the links, guys. So I put the links for the books. You really should get it because it's very interesting information on the bio page for this Facebook. So if you want, you can click on those links. Those links go directly to Amazon. No, I'm not making any money on it. I'm not doing any promotions, for my guests. I'm just trying to offer the information so you see that it's out there. Let me ask you this question. You tell me how you got started in the business, all right? So over the time or the period of being in the industry or being in real estate, what do you specialize in now? What is your niche product?
Well, actually, diversified hybrid real estate investing is my model. So, when I started with flips, and then I transitioned to rentals and started doing short sales and eventually notes. When I got to notes, it was the best investment strategy in the universe because it was laptop cell phone. It was no dealing with tenants, tall as trash and termites. And in fact, I would stand on a stage and say, don't do real estate, don't fix and flip. It's the bottom total pole. You need to be at the top tier, be the lender, right? The investor, the guys that's out there fixing and flipping, we used to have a joke and say, the lender has the hat with the feather in it, if you know what I mean. And the other guy who's doing a fix and flip, he's on the other side. The lender has the hat with the feather sitting at the table, and you out there doing the work. So my mindset was just be the lender, be the bank, be the bank, be the bank. In 2015, I started to see a shift in the market where real estate started to increase. The inventory was still in abundance, but not as much as it was before years earlier. And I was saying, you know what? I need to start, doing a bit more real estate and kind of mixing up the portfolio a little bit with just more than just notes. Note pricing started to increase during that time as well. And I knew that we had a 10-year run before, it was going to be a collapse. It's based off of historical events. The market cycles every 10 to 12 years. So I wanted to create a diversified approach with my investment strategy. So like always, just like I did with notes, I took my own capital, went over the hill, got the arrow on my back, built case studies, then brought investors along from the ride. So started to do the same thing again around 2015, started ramping up. In the background when I did notes in 2011 with the notes, I still did fix and flips, but not in the volume that I used to do before the market crash. In 2015, I started to increase my purchases in my personal portfolio of real estate, really understanding the market, seeing where it was at, tapping into the banks and resources that I had, seeing what REO inventory they had on their books that they wanted to get rid of in larger chunks. And once I was able to, solidify those connections and put some of my own private capital and raise capital from, IRA investors or whatever, I started to see a trend where in my own personal portfolio where I had notes in real estate, the blend and I don't want to say risk averse, but it reduced the risk because I had income streams from, if I was doing fix and flips, rentals, income streams from notes that I had in my personal portfolio. And I was like, well, that's a good mix. So I need to create a vehicle to do that. So now my approach is diversify, having a hybrid investment strategy. And this, you have to be skillful to be able to do this. So I'm speaking to you from 20 years of experience. I'm not saying go out and do a bunch of different things. If you're doing wholesaling, that's very transactional. So, when inventory drops, then it's like, where's the money, right? You have to be creative in your marketing to constantly bring deals in. So if you understand wholesaling, you have a system and it's you built that, you definitely want to do something that brings you monthly cash flow, which is rentals or performing notes. So whatever you have the wherewithal to buy or deploy capital in. So I have a diverse approach in real estate. I do fix and flips, rentals, I buy notes. I do wraps, I buy tax liens, wherever I see the opportunity and I have the skill set and the process and it's risk mitigated, that's where I want to invest.
So you really are a jack of all trades, master of all.
Yeah. So how my approach to it is, and I don't know it all, as I mentioned to you before we press record. I'm still learning as I go along, but this is my approach. I do real estate. I learn it, I build the process, and this is fix and flips. I build the process. Of course, I'm going to get, bumps and bruises and beat up along the way. I reprocess it. Once I process it, then basically I move to the next thing, and then move to the next thing, move to the next thing. And I make sure I have a team also, of course, that is skilled as well. We use a system that have workflows that, correct our human errors that we may make to make sure we dot the I's and cross the T's. And once you build mastery in a space, you can kind of move on to the next space, right? Some people get bored easy and, they are very intelligent and they know how to do things quicker than others. Some people need to be laser focused on one thing, and that's great. But in today's market, as you can see, we just went through a black swan event. If you were just doing just rentals and you didn't have, Section 8 or whatever it was, and, you might have a big deficiency rate, or, for the short sale market, I'm pretty sure as soon as going to be booming once the moratorium gets lifted and all these foreclosures start hitting, that market is going to be really good again. Still good now, but it's going to be probably way better from what I'm seeing so far as delinquencies. But yeah, just really laser focus on what you can do. Once you build mastery, then you move on to the next. Like with the tax lien thing, I'll give you an example on that. I knew about tax liens for a very long time, got educated, went to the seminars, watched the videos and everything else, but I never pulled the trigger on it. So the same thing, I saw the market a few years ago off the hook, and I'm like, I need to kind of pivot and figure out another way to get stuff at a discount. So what I started to do was I called attorneys who actually foreclose on tax liens, started to learn from them, the risks, the do's, the don'ts, and everything else. And then I went to a couple of auctions, watched it, observed it, watched how the people did and what they did, and asked them questions, asked them questions at the end, what was their process and how can they lose money? And once I learned that, then I went in with, some of my own money and basically some partners of mine. And, we were able to successfully take down, a lot of tax liens. And then I was like, okay, now that I've done that successfully, now let me bring that into a vehicle where I could raise capital and go ahead and do it at a larger scale. So that's basically that. So those are the different types of strategies that I use in real estate. Just being creative and also really just trying to stay ahead of the market and not doing everything that everybody else is doing. If, like now the tax lien thing at the last auction, I didn't win anything because everybody's, people know about it. But when people start seeing people actually doing it and it's working, I'm like, I want to do that too. How do I do that? So yeah, just being creative with whatever you do in real estate.
Absolutely. How do you fund your deals?
Well, I have a fund. I run a fund for accredited investors only, and we raise capital to buy tax liens, real estate, local New Jersey, where I've been investing the last 20 years, and or notes nationwide. The notes in nationwide, I specialize, as you know, in the niche market, which is second mortgages. You get a bigger discount. We buy seconds behind people who are paying on their first, who, the property is still occupied. And most cases, some of the tapes have stuff that the first is in foreclosure and the people have 1 foot out the door. And sometimes we can structure a deed in lieu, or basically foreclose subject to the first and take the property. So it gets real creative with those out of the box strategies, investing in seconds. But we have a fund. That's how we raise capital to do our deals. And we use some institutional capital as well. We have a variety of lenders that we use to kind of help us leverage our deals.
Interesting. It's all interesting stuff. So how do you find the deals or the portfolio of the tapes? Is it repeat business? Is it new people that have heard about you? How does something like that work?
Yeah, so real estate is a relationship business, and you have a lot of earlier on. What I used to do is go to a lot of the servicing conferences. Like every year, the big services have conferences where they talk about regulations and things that's coming down the pipeline, compliance and stuff. So that's where you would meet certain key people behind the scenes. So I would go to those events. This is probably like $2,500 a ticket. To go to the event for a couple of days. You have the Mortgage Bankers Association conferences and those big events that I would go to, and just getting in the right circle with people. Now, you're not going to get any deals off the bat. You have to constantly go. They see their face. They get to know you. They know you're real. You communicate with them. They'll plug you in with somebody in their company who handles those off-market assets or things of that nature, REOs or whatever it is. And you just constantly follow up. They get to know you, build a relationship with them. And then you're only successful, you're only as good as your last trade, is what I mean. So you can make a trade for $2 million today or $3 million today. And they're like, okay, what are you going to do next quarter? That was good, but what's happening next quarter? So constantly staying in their face and doing business and making deals is really how you get the flow of inventory. As far as local with real estate, I just tap into my resources. I've been doing this for about 20 years. So I have people who will reach out to me, and whether they had a death in the family, there's an estate sale, or they're behind in their taxes and they need liquidity, or even local hard money lenders who have people who default. We'll buy the paper from them and continue the foreclosure or try to work out a deed in lieu with the current owner. We may structure innovation to do the deal, marketing campaigns, just a variety of different ways. You have to, especially in today's market, it's so competitive and a shortage of inventory. You have to constantly be able to know how to source deals. Even on Instagram, like who would think that you can find deals on Instagram? It's two people. I'm not on Instagram. That's for the young kids. I jumped on it right away and start promoting and adding value, telling people about real estate and how they can get involved. And, I actually had an asset manager who worked for a fund who's a young kid. He's on Instagram, and he reached out to me and said, hey, man, we got a few deals in your area. You might want to take a look at this. Here's 12 properties. Before we put them in the MLS, why don't you take a look at them? They all have the same lockbox codes. Let us know if you want to make an offer and buy them all before we list them with a realtor. So I find deals that way also, social media, just a different variety of ways.
Somebody messaged me privately and asked, are you offering consultations for people that want to learn what you do? Are you offering a free consultation? Are you taking on, mentees, people that want to learn the industry? Are you going to teach this stuff?
Well, I do a lot on social media. A year ago, I believe I made my goal for 2019, and it was a small goal. Somebody told me that was a small goal. You can probably do that in like 2 months. And my goal was to educate 1,000 people, whichever way I can. Mm-hmm. And they was like, no, that was small. You probably can reach 50,000 people. And at the time, because I'm new on social media, only a year and a half or maybe 2 years in, I never was on Facebook, never was on all the social media handles until I hired somebody that was doing marketing. My companies were online, but I wasn't personally online. And I hired a marketing person that was like, hey, people need to know what's behind the scenes, what's under the hood. You need to go out there and show your personality. You have a lot to offer. And I was like, well, the first thing I'm gonna do is add value. I'm just gonna tell people, what I do, how I do it, and be transparent and share. And that way you start to attract more different people. So that's how I do, the consultation. I was doing a segment called Talk Note Tuesdays, which I'm going to bring that back, where I would come on Instagram every Tuesday, 8 o'clock, and talk about the note business and answer questions. So I do a lot of stuff on social media. I used to have training Every once in a while, there's something Note Think Tank with my guy Sherman Arnowitz. He actually is one of my mentors in the note space. Every once in a while, I'll come out and do something, but it's just finding the time to be able to do that is really tough for me because it takes a lot. I used to have classes and sessions and everything else, and I'm a parent of 2 kids, a single parent, so it's a lot of responsibility I have running the company and taking care of my kids. So it's a lot to really put the time and effort. I don't have a training program where somebody pay me to spend time and everything else. I used to do the sessions, and it was like $25,000 a head, and it was for people who were serious. And I think I did over 75 people over 2 years, and then it was just too much for me, and I stopped. So I don't have anything at the moment, but I have tons of content on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and you put my name in Fuquan Bilal, you'll find so much stuff on notes, on real estate that's very valuable. So yeah, I would start there first, and hit me up on social media. I answer questions and stuff like that, but I don't have a program to answer your question. Only thing I have to sell is books on Amazon.
Buy the book.
And notes in real estate.
But it's funny though, because if you look at the books, the books themselves, very informative. I mean,
yeah, I put a lot into it. Very informative. So,
I mean, you give examples on what people need to do. You talk about, I guess, how you're a hybrid. The chapters, I got to tell you, man, I've never seen a book like this one. This particular book, this is your latest book. And if you look at some of the chapters, the way they are, you actually give some of the high points in the chapters, which are pretty cool, because anybody who's trying to read a book, at least like me, I'm like, where's the movie at? So, but this, the way you have it laid out, which is pretty cool, it's actually talking about different chapters, like in chapter 4, investing. And then it says the need to invest first, portfolio mix, pros and cons of major asset classes. You actually really spell out the information in these books. So not for nothing, but I think when people put these books out inadvertently, it's really a training class. You're educating people, and I think people should take advantage of the 2 books that you have that are out there. The links are, in the introduction that talks about you coming on. And again, guys, I'm not making any money on these books. I'm doing it because the lives I do, I started doing these lives when the pandemic hit. And if anybody's actually been following me this whole time, when the pandemic hit, I said to my team, I said, look, we're all going to stay together. We're going to get through it. We had a couple of rough patches for about 2-3 months, almost 3 months, but we got through it, and the closing started to happen again. I said, I'm going to jump on social media, and I'm going to kind of like bring light or educate people and have people not sit at home and eat bonbons and not work out. Obviously, I ate the bonbons and I didn't work out. What are you laughing at? At the end of the day, it was about educating the people. So I was doing it Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock. And then I had night shows when it was available, Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Now I'm literally down to like 1 or 2 shows a week because we're just swamped. Mm-hmm. So the education aspect that we're coming up with, that's going to be coming out, with the short sale boot camp. And, I'm trying to, explain to people, which I want to talk about, because I want to get your opinion on this and what you think. Because, there's so many people that are out there that are, inquiring or want to know what's going on in the industry, and they're not taking advantage of the information that's out there. I've been doing this for 15 years. You've been doing it for 20. Obviously, we know the exact same people, but we also have, offshoots of people that we deal with. My boot camp that I have coming up, and you said that you'd like to give your 2 cents in about it, which I appreciate it. So the boot camp is called rrgbootcamp.com. It's the 23rd towards the end of this month of October. And I'm doing it live on Facebook, not Facebook, on Zoom. All the people that came on that were sponsors and speakers, I spent a lot of money on the recordings for some of these people that took advantage of it to help people and educate them. What is your opinion on what I do with my quest to try to help people that are in trouble?
I think it's great. Like I mentioned, I had some of the same goals and doing it virtually and coming on social media and helping people. And I had a small goal of 1,000. I'm pretty sure, a lot of people hit me in a message and thank me that it's good. So the mission that you have to help people is purposeful. And I think that for those who are serious and committed, will get a lot out of it. So, I encourage you guys definitely October 23rd, take advantage of it, because learning the short sale business is really, really good. And it's key because of where the market is going. There's going to be a lot of defaults, similar to, what we've seen before. Right now is a moratorium on the market right now. And once the floodgates open up, it's going to be foreclosure. A lot of people are behind 9 months or more in mortgage payments already. And it's the same thing. People are taking advantage of the situation, right? Back then, when people strategically defaulted to force a low modification or force a short sale, the same thing is happening again. There's a lot of mom and pops that are not getting rents that's going to be forced to short sell to get rid of the house. These people do want to pay their mortgages, but unfortunately can't because they don't have the income. So there's going to be a need for people out there that have this skill to be able to help. And even if you are already a realtor, you can always sharpen your skills and learn how the negotiators do certain things, so you'll know how to approach the banks if you're trying to negotiate the short sale. So I think it's great, man. I think it's great what you're doing. And, short sales are still alive and prevalent to the day. As a matter of fact, I was just speaking with someone last night. Well, her mother passed away. She lives in Texas. She has a house in Rutherford, and it's a reverse mortgage. I know you dealt with those. Those are pretty tough. It's a reverse mortgage because they don't budge. They don't budge.
That's not true.
From my experience, well, maybe that was years ago when I was dealing with reverse mortgages. So
you need to bring me in.
Yeah. So they actually, have a reverse mortgage on it, and they offered her a situation. But just for me having the knowledge of how short sales work, I was able to communicate with her what she needs to do and pretty much go from there. So basically what I'm saying is wherever skill set you have, it's, attend the workshop. You can always be a student of life and be willing to learn more about real estate. You never know what you're going to learn in these sessions. So I think it's great, man.
Well, here's one thing I'm going to give out as a free. I'm going to give a freebie right now.
Oh, all right.
And this is massive. That's it. Now, people don't understand that when you do short sales on a reverse mortgage, a family member can purchase the property
at a 10% discount,
and they don't understand that. And I get this question answered all the time. Now, I do train, a great deal of people, and I do private mentorships. And when somebody comes to me after I've trained them, that should be the very first thing that pops up when somebody says reverse mortgage. Do you have a family member that would like to purchase the property? Let's see what we could do to try to make it, the deal work. But those same people come back, which is okay, and say, "Can you do it?" The rules haven't changed, so yeah, you can do it. You're not defrauding the bank if it's a reverse mortgage. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, they actually give you 10% off nowadays, from what I hear. If you're a family member, right off the top of the mortgage, they give you 10% off. Yeah. And in this case, I think she had a mortgage for like $390,000. So for them to cut 40 grand off the top, that's really, blessings.
That's the property in Rutherford?
Yeah, property in Rutherford. Yep.
Is that deal done?
Yeah, it's pretty much done. She was explaining it to me and how it was going and the challenges she was going through. But she connected with the realtor. She had ran through two situations. She ran through a realtor that was inexperienced. And it was another situation. There's been a guy who's been living there for years, and he's only paying like, X amount for the rent. And, so hopefully, the situation will work out. It hasn't closed yet, but, there's a solution that's been put in place for it already. Look at you like, where's that lead? I see it. This guy wants the flower under the baker fingernails.
What it is because a lot of times, you just said it, you literally just hit the nail on the head. The first realtor couldn't get it done. The second real estate agent might not be able to get it done. But I'm always a phone call away. I'll get it done.
Got it.
Here's the thing I don't think people understand is there's two different types of short sales. There's a retail short sale, and then there's an investor short sale. And if anybody tells you any different than that, then honestly, they don't understand the market. So, look, the interview is not about me. It's not about short sales. It's about what you were doing and what you do. in closing, is there something that you would want other people to know about you that maybe people don't know about you in general? Like, are you bald or do you shave your head?
Actually, shave.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I try to shave every other day, and kind of scruffy today, but yeah, I try to shave every other day, and not, but yeah, that's a fact. I shave every other day or something like that. But people can find more information about me. Like I said, I'm on social media: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I share a lot of stuff, my personal life on social media and everything else. But I think that a message I want to leave with the people, especially if you're new getting started in real estate or you're still early in your career, if you're hungry for it, you definitely will be at the level you want to be. I don't want to use the word successful because that means different things to different people. But, stay hungry and have a purpose and you will accomplish your mission.
I like that. Listen, my mission is to help people. Now, I had the Short Sale Bootcamp Expo website up. Maybe people don't have the money for it. It's not a lot of money, but people don't have the money for it. Maybe people are on the fence. I don't know if I want to learn about short sales. The one thing that I did that was genius is I started a private Facebook page called Short Sales 101. It's on the bottom of the ticker now. Is because there has to be a place for people to go to feel comfortable to ask questions. Some of the questions don't get asked in a timely manner. Then I get private messaged. Hey, you didn't answer this question. Why? Well, I'm running a business. It is a free group. Hence, the information will be available when it's available. And I don't say that people can't answer the questions. If somebody feels that they deem that they're an authority and they can answer the question, answer it. But don't market yourself. And that's one of the issues that I've had with that page, where we've actually had to boot people off the page because people would, hey, you know what, call me, I do short sales. And I don't think so. If you want to weed out people and you want to bring in real people and you want to build your own Facebook page, that's cool. We've got over 1,600 people in this group in a year. Some people say that's not a lot of people. We could have had over 5,000 people in the group. But if you don't answer the specific questions to get into Short Sale 101 on Facebook, you're not getting in the group. It's really that simple. And people get upset. But the bottom line is my group, my rules. Do you agree with that?
Your group, your rules.
My rules.
No, it's good. It's good to have quality instead of quantity. Definitely something that I always look at when creating these type of groups, and you filter out the people who's not willing to ask the questions. Like when I had meetup groups online, I used to ask specific questions. Same way, if you want to get in a group, you got to answer these questions. And the people who just wrote anything, I was like, nope, they're not coming in the group. So I get it. Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate you having me on the show, and looking forward to the boot camp. And
Absolutely.
Thanks again. I appreciate you for bringing me on the platform.
Absolutely. So, guys, so Fuquan, he's got 2 books, Turning Distress into Success. That's the one book. He says it's 5 years old, but I got to tell you, there's some really great information in that book. It's timeless as far as I'm concerned. And here's a new book, Passion for Real Estate Investments. Take a look at it. They're both on Amazon. And if people want to reach out to you, obviously they can hit you up private messenger. This is the correct email if people want to reach out to you. It's FBILAL at NNG Capital Fund.com. And at the end of every one of my shows, I ask people if they can emulate my finger point. So I would love to see if we could do it. Oh shit! I'm gonna give you an 8. I'm gonna give you a solid 8. I got it. I was blinded by the shine on the top of your head, though. But
all right.
Thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, guys. My guest today
was a pleasure, man.
Fuquan Bilal, and you can obviously Google him, Google his books, his information. The guy's written 2 books. You wrote 2 books, right?
Actually, I wrote 3 books. The other book I wrote is a self-development. It was a pamphlet. It's only like 40 pages, so it's not a book.
Okay.
But it's called The Tire Kicker.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, for we all have the tire kicker in us. We procrastinate with certain things, but how to seize the mind, how to beat the mind, and the mind games and get the results you want. Don't be a tire kicker.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you probably have a few tire kickers that don't join the boot camp, but yeah.
There's a lot of tire kickers out there, and I got to tell you, dude, for the price of a dinner for a night out with your spouse, loved one, or whatever it is, for a couple of hours to actually learn, get educated, and get the correct information so you can actually get to a closing table, it's a no-brainer. But you'd be surprised. Yo, can I get a free pass? No. Why? Because it took me 15 years to acquire this information. You can afford it. So, and it's not even the people that don't have money. It's the people that have money. That's what cracks me up. But again, it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about helping other people. Guys, thanks so much for taking time out to watch the live episode. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Hold on one sec. Don't go anywhere.